Hello, everybody. As you are coming in, let's see here. We're going to be doing something for Facebook Live real quick. Okay, here we go. For those of you who are coming in, we're just doing something on Facebook Live to make sure that everybody saw this, because we had to put this together a little bit quicker than we anticipated. So I want to make sure everybody who has a chance to see about it or hear about it gets a chance. So I am super excited. I'm super excited, and I'm like celebrating. And the reason I'm celebrating, oh, it hit me in the face. The reason that I am celebrating is because Inventory Lab has a really amazing announcement. So if you want to hear all the details about the announcement, you want to go to the webinar. This has been something that I have been waiting to tell you guys about. It's going to make you like, you might use an expletive, even if you don't normally use expletives, because this is something that I've been waiting for forever. I've been hoping and dreaming for, praying to Jesus, and you know, we now have it. So if you want to ask questions about this, you want to join the webinar that's in the link. We're only going to be answering the questions on the webinar piece. So you want to come on that piece if you want to get that in the details. But the exciting announcement is that Inventory Lab has been working to create an API integration. Now, some of you are like, API, API. You don't realize how amazing this is, because it's going to allow you to do things with that cost of goods. So many of us have been exporting out data because we need that cost of goods. We need that other information that we entered into Inventory Lab, the supplier information. There's so many uses for this. It is so exciting. And what Inventory Lab is doing by making this integration available is they're going to allow you to make better business decisions, for you to grow your business more scalably. I can see that this first integration, this first one, is going to help decrease the amount of time that you spend on a task that really has to get done in your business in order to get things moving. And the future integrations are just going to be even more awesome. So if tonight we're going to talk about this first one. Again, if you have questions about it, bring them to the webinar. Go ahead and join the webinar, and we'll talk about it there. If you're catching this replay later, then you can still use that link. It will become an instant replay for you as soon as we're done recording. So the first API integration that Inventory Lab has is going to be, I can't do it in the air because my computer's like high, but is that they're going to be integrating, or there's going to be an API with so it's Be Cool. And so that repricer that so many of you use. And so what we'll be able to do is take your cost of goods and use that in your repricer without you having to go and export the data and format the data and upload the data. So especially for you Excel phobic people, this is Moses coming down on the mountain. You know, like, this is really great. So this is the first of many. So, you know, even though we're going to be talking about Be Cool tonight, this is really the framework for Inventory Lab becoming a bigger part of your business for many of you, and being able to help you guys be able to be more profitable. So I'm really excited about that. So Kim, we're going to go ahead and tonight we're going to talk about when to expect the integration, right? We're going to talk about how you're going to set the integration up, and how the integration will work. So what to expect. And so all of those things are things that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're really excited about it. So feel free to go ahead and join us on the webinar if you want to follow that. I know not everybody wants to watch. Not everybody uses Inventory Lab, which, you know, teardrop. But, you know, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn the Facebook Live off. But if you're watching this now, between, you know, it's 6 p.m. Pacific time, and we'll be probably on for the next 30 minutes at least, maybe an hour. You can join directly on the webinar and ask questions, or if you catch this later, just register for the webinar and it will take you to an instant replay. So let's go ahead and get started into the details. So with the integration of Inventory Lab, when can we, and Be Cool, when, or I don't think I'm calling it the right thing. I think it's not technically an integration. It's something different. I just caught myself saying that. So because it's only going to be for, it has to be very select people that have to meet certain criteria because of the way that it's designed. And so with Inventory Lab and Be Cool working together, when do we think that this will be live and people will be able to use it in their businesses?
This is going to be available in the coming days. This is not weeks or months. This is in the coming days. You're going to see this available. Who knows? You could wake up someday this week and it'll just be there and ready for you. We're really, really excited. We began kind of working on building this framework that would support a network for us to be able to bring not just Be Cool, but other third-party marketplace applications, really selecting other groups that we kind of feel like align with how we feel about the Amazon seller and the e-commerce community, people that really just bring value to running businesses. We're really excited to have Be Cool, partner with us to be this first almost ribbon cutting launch. So we're going to be able to make their cost per unit, whatever they've assigned to their MSKUs and Inventory Lab, that's going to be made available to their accounts in Be Cool. Be Cool will automatically import that stuff, get it all plugged in for you, and at least take that piece off of the plate so that you can focus on what pricing rule works for you and what min and max is going to work right for you.
And so it will be in the coming days. So, you're going to want to keep an eye out. There was some whispering today that people saw some integration, even though there are some people that are showing Be Cool in Inventory Lab in their Be Cool settings. It's not actually live yet. So you can save yourself 2 hours of frustration by knowing it's not live now. So you're going to want to come back to that. There'll be an announcement by Inventory Lab and Be Cool. We'll announce one we'll send out an email as well, letting you know about it. And so I think we can probably go to the slides now, right?
Sure, absolutely. Because you're going to be able to find it pretty quickly, even if you don't see the email. So don't feel like you have to kind of, hover over your email. You're going to be able to see what it is that you need. So let me just get this going here and we'll take a look.
All right.
Those are some of our faces. That won't help you though. So let's take a look. So when this is live in your account, you're going to, I'm actually going to skip forward a little bit because I want you to first go to Be Cool. You're going to be able to hop in there. You're going to go to the settings there on the right-hand side. You see like the little green box. Click Settings and click General. It's then going to take you to obviously a settings area. And you're going to see the third one down is going to be your Inventory Lab integration. So you're going to, first, you're going to choose your cost type. So what does that mean? You're going to be able to choose between having your highest cost, your average cost, or your current cost. This is going to be your cost per unit for MSKUs, having that applied as they call it cost in Be Cool, we call it cost per unit in Inventory Lab. So you're going to choose between highest cost, average cost, and current cost. You're going to click that thing on. This little window is going to pop up letting you know that, hey, okay, you've turned on this Inventory Lab integration. So now we want you to go over and turn this on as well in Inventory Lab. So you can see here that once both of these are turned on, Be Cool is going to start to, come over through this, this network, this channel, and begin to import those buy costs for you. So here I'm going to go back to Inventory Lab. So in your account, you're going to click your name in the top right-hand corner. You're going to select Settings. When you do, on the left-hand side at the very bottom, you're going to see a new option in that menu that says Integration Settings. And there you're going to see this Available Integrations page. And for right now, you're going to see this one. This is going to be the Be Cool cost per unit integration. So you're going to be able to toggle that on. You're going to have a nice little pop-up that's going to say, hey, okay, we're going to begin sharing your cost per unit information with Be Cool. Is that what you like to do? And you click Connect. And that process is then going to start. So it's going to start syncing within 12 hours. And then it's going to sync every 12 hours after that as well. If at any time you want to stop that sharing of data, hop right back into Inventory Lab the exact same way you found this, click that toggle in Inventory Lab. It'll then say disconnected and the sharing of information will stop immediately. So toggle it on, it's going to start. But there's also other ways, not just automatically having it happen every 12 hours. You're going to be able to do that manually as well in Be Cool.
And so when people first connect it, they might have to connect it and then come back 12 hours later to get to be able to kind of integrate, see the data coming into Be Cool probably.
Yeah, so they're going to turn it on in Be Cool, hop right over to Inventory Lab, turn it on in Inventory Lab. And yes, then within 12 hours, it's going to begin syncing. Unless for some reason, like maybe you miss it by like a second or something, maybe it'll be like a little bit longer than 12 hours, but somewhere in that range, it'll start and it will sync on its own automatically every 12 hours after that. But you can also manually trigger that synchronization as well in Be Cool. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Here we go. Did you want to take a look at how to sync that automatically?
Yeah, that would be great because I think a lot of people are going to need that.
Yeah,
it's getting windy in here. I might need to move inside.
Absolutely. So when you go to Be Cool and you're on your Manage Listings page, let's see if I have that slide ready to go. There we go. Something new is going to be added to the bulk actions menu. That's that little green menu that kind of drops down there. The very bottom is reload cost from Inventory Lab. So this is going to work the same way as your other bulk settings or your bulk actions in Be Cool. You can select the ones that you want to sync individually, or you can do that in bulk for each page by clicking the one box at the very top. Reload cost from Be Cool, little green wheel is going to show up, and as they're kind of retrieving that data for you, and then your cost per unit for your active MSKUs are going to just kind of show up there. So it'll happen automatically without you need to do anything, but if needed, you can do that manually as well.
All right, so now we know how to do that, and so we know how to turn it on, and then what kind of so then how do we set it up? What are the next steps after that, or do we have those yet?
Nothing to do after that.
Okay.
So after that, that's going to be, based on that, the cost per unit, then you're not going to need to duplicate that process again. You're not going to need to export anything, import anything, or input that data manually. It's going to be there. So this would be the point when you're ready to start repricing something, setting your min and max prices. Of course, you can do that in bulk as well.
Okay.
And applying those pricing rules as well in Be Cool. And kind of just taking that piece, it's really redundant. It's kind of tedious to list your buy costs in Inventory Lab, do that again, even if it's an export or import. And so having that kind of taken off your plate, leaving you to just really focus on the min and max part, the pricing part, and really why you have a repricer, really the core functionality of that tool.
And so with that repricer, then the next step really for everybody else would be now taking the repricing rules that they already have established in Be Cool and just having it based off of their cost of goods, which is it's syncing every 12 hours, and putting that into their process, so they can take that out of their processes for like things that need to be done weekly and focus on just checking those things maybe that had been there over 90 days, but everything as they list it in Inventory Lab, it can go straight into being repriced by Be Cool by setting those automatic rules.
Yes, exactly. So really it's kind of filling in the gap because Be Cool really has a lot of automated tools already in place so that you don't have to do a whole lot manually if you don't want to. So this was kind of that missing piece. So being able to kind of have those cost per unit, that information just plugged in for you. So that's calculated when you're determining your min and max price, because of course you can't start repricing anything until that's even plugged in. So getting rid of that, letting you focus on why you have a repricer in the first place, those pricing rules, that min and max price, and getting that all out of the way.
And so, and then as new integrations come out, there'll be tutorials and all that stuff on how to, do the next integrations. But if people have questions about what we're doing, what we Be Cool working with Inventory Lab, then you're welcome to ask those either in the Q&A or the chat. Is there anything else that we missed there?
I don't think so. So in the integration settings section of your Inventory Lab account, those future relationships and partnerships that we have with other third-party marketplace tools, they're going to appear there as well. Really just our goal is, we kind of even stay away from the word integration. It, kind of has its own meaning unto itself.
I'm sorry about that.
No. It's, it is a commonly used term. Just with internally, the way that we've really looked at it is kind of different than the universal way that, integrations, that word is like even used. And really this is about having that framework to be very selective and bringing these tools together to build a stronger network for the community, to build a stronger community, to make these tools available to everybody. We've been working on it for quite some time. It began in 2017, and we really wanted to be able to offer those advanced tools for sellers, especially repricers. It really seemed to be like that was one of the first types of tools that as people kind of turned a corner, they really wanted to be able to access. And we looked at, and we could have built these tools internally ourselves and built them into Inventory Lab, into the same product. But when we really looked at it, we kind of felt like we would, to sustain it, to build it, maintain it, we would end up potentially pricing ourselves outside of the financial reach of those smaller business owners and even medium-sized business owners. And that's really a community that we're very dedicated to. It's those new people that are just starting out, and so many of them, there's a lot of fear and frustration and discouragement at the very beginning. And we want them to feel supported and to feel like they have access to the tools to be successful. So instead of building that internally, instead of potentially pricing ourselves outside of the reach of that in particular group of people, but also bringing those advanced tools together for all of our customers, because we have advanced people as well, and seasoned sellers. Instead of doing that, we wanted to kind of just create this partnership and this network and have this scalable, portal with all of the tools needed for developers of other third-party marketplace tools to come in and, kind of combine our forces together. Let's bring some really great quality stuff together, make it accessible to the larger crowd of Amazon sellers and e-commerce entrepreneurs, and just create a better, stronger framework.
And I really appreciate that, because, there have been several companies that have decided they want to go for, the multi-million-dollar sellers and just leave all of the, there's a couple companies that just, quintupled their price. And it was really frustrating because we had built a lot of systems around that.
Yeah, so, I get it though, because there really was this evolution within the community. There's a cohort of people, and they've moved beyond the smaller types of things. They have it figured out, and they're looking at things like velocity and, words that aren't even in the vernacular of a newer seller. So those folks do need to be supported, but you're absolutely right. As, the cohort kind of like grew and like moving forward, a lot of the tools did too. And a lot of them are out of reach, or not just even financially, but they're irrelevant at that point. That's too much technology, and people invest in that. And we all remember, investing in that initial, delegating initially, like a task, whether that be like lawn care or a Dymo printer. Usually that's the first task that's delegated. Somebody invests in that. That's a really, really big decision. And, we just need to be careful. We wanted to be careful that we still had technology and support available for those smaller folks that were making that initial decision.
And we have a couple of questions now. Stacy wanted to know, will the cost be brought over by ASIN or MSKU?
That's going to be by MSKU.
Okay. And will it pull the cost only for listings? Will it pull costs only for listings where there's no cost, I'm guessing, in the Be Cool field, or will it overwrite what she already has in Be Cool? Stacy, if that's not what you're asking, go ahead and re-ask. So
that's probably what she is asking. Makes total sense. So if you already have something plugged into Be Cool, is the cost per unit that you have in Inventory Lab going to override that? That's an excellent question. And I'm going to say that I am 90% sure that yes, Inventory Lab is going to override that. I cannot, however, tell you 100% for sure. I'm going to find out though, and I will get back to Robin, or I'll post it in the thread. I'm actually going to write that down really quick so that I can make sure that I get you some accurate information, because that was something that just came up, and I realized that I did not have an answer for that. And I thought, oh my gosh, how do I not know that?
Overwrite. Okay. So, and then she wanted, okay, so that was the question. And then Laura Lee wants to know, will the new mins and max in Inventory Lab, we talked about this. So will the new mins and max be exported to Be Cool? And if so, is Inventory Lab planning on adding a min max calculator later in the listing screen?
Well, there is actually. It's a recent update. So we do have min and max is available there in your list screen, but we didn't have that calculator-ish thing that was there before. It was kind of tucked away in the settings area. You could use, we kind of built it into the auto price rules settings that you have there, but we now have brought them forward. We have it on the list screen. So there's a little pencil that appears next to min. There's a little pencil that appears next to max. You can click either one of those. This little window is going to pop up and you're going to be able to automate even a little bit more. To your question about is min and max and how that can be used to get to Be Cool. So that min and max price that you have in Inventory Lab is part of your closed batch report that you're able to export. A lot of folks for a while have used that closed batch report to upload into Be Cool for the cost per unit purposes. So that is part of their plan. And I think that they had built that already, and I think there's a glitch going on with it right now. So you're supposed to be able to import your cost per unit along with min and max into Be Cool to automate that whole process. But as of today, because I was trying to mess around with it, like, why aren't my min and max uploading? So I emailed them like, hey guys, there's something going on. There's a thing going on over there. So they're looking into that. So you're able to set your min and max right there while you're listing. You can use that. There's an ROI. You can kind of change the ROI around and mess around with your list price and even get a better idea. And then take all of that information. Your cost per unit, that's automated. That's going to be pushed over if you have the integration turned on. And then your min and max, you're able to use that export from your closed batches to import into Be Cool.
And so Dallin's asking, would the pricing still be placed? Oh, so would the pricing still need to be placed into the MSKU for this to function? I'm not sure what that means.
To be placed into the MSKU.
Can you, Dallin, can you, or I think I was saying, can you put a little bit more detail on that? But yeah.
If you don't enter any kind of a buy cost while you're listing, or if there is no buy cost in your current inventory, there will be nothing that will show up in the field in Be Cool. So it's not going to be like a zero. I mean, unless you put a zero. If you put a zero in there, then probably a zero is going to get picked up by Be Cool. But if there's nothing there, it won't import any kind of cost per unit. But whatever you put there. So, and this is not just like while you're listing. So what we're kind of looking at are the cost per unit that you have entered into your inventory. So even if you're going to go into your inventory, if you're thinking to yourself right now, like, oh my gosh, I don't have all my cost per unit plugged in for all of my MSKUs in Inventory Lab. This is where you want to do it. You want to go into your inventory, click export. It's going to export all of your inventory into a .csv formatted spreadsheet. If you're not familiar with what a .csv formatted file, it's literally just like the universal format for a spreadsheet. You can open it in whatever preferred software you like to use for spreadsheets, and then plug in, this is just kind of the easiest way to do it. Plug in your cost per unit, plug in your supplier, plug in your purchase date, save it, and then go right back to your inventory page and click import. Import that right back in. Your buy costs are all going to be plugged into your inventory. And then that's where Be Cool is going to be picking that up. So even if you change your cost per unit later on, if you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't pay that, or you put something in wrong, just put in the correct one and it'll get picked up during the next sync, or hop over to Be Cool and sync it yourself, whatever you'd like to do. And don't forget too, you're able to choose what cost per unit gets applied in Be Cool, not just current buy cost. You could also have the maximum buy cost you've ever had for an MSKU, or the average. So you have options there as well.
And Lauren Lee says she's really excited about the min-max calculator. She didn't see that today when she was listing, so she's going to look at that. And then Stacy said that maybe he was talking about embedding the cost into the MSKU, because Be Cool wouldn't pick up that. It would only be if you put it in the cost field.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you plug that into your cost per unit field, either while you're listing, because that'll of course then show up in your inventory tab, FBA inventory, or make sure that you then, if you haven't, for things that you've already have listed in that are already existing in your inventory, go ahead and plug that into your FBA inventory now, because that's what they're going to be picking up. But yeah, a lot of people like to use that custom variable MSKU tool that we have, and they'll kind of build in their cost per unit and maybe like an employee's name or a supplier. All kinds of things kind of get squished into the MSKU, but I totally get it. But yeah, you want to make sure that's in the list screen. But now that I'm thinking about it, if he has that built into his MSKU, he would have had to have put it in the cost per unit field while listing, or Inventory Lab wouldn't have been able to pull that and make that part of his MSKU. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and he says that, I can enter the buy cost, but I can use a custom MSKU that includes the buy cost. This data is read by the repricer that I currently use. I was wondering if this integration was based on the MSKU. No, so this integration is not based off of the MSKU. It's based off of the structured data in the cost field, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that is it. And then Laura Lee wants to know, I always read names wrong on these screens. She wants to know if there'll be instructions for the tech challenge for exporting mins and maxes when it comes, or for exporting mins and maxes. And I think that when that part of the functionality with BQool works, then that will be automatic. But for right now, I think there's already some instructions on how to do that, right?
Yes. So because this is all very new, even with the calculator with min and max, and her saying that she hadn't seen it, it is very, very new that's there. So I think probably a lot of people haven't seen it yet. So, but yes, for the tech challenge, like my friend, that's me all around, like literally all around. But so I'm thinking about our user guide. We do have, if you look at closed batches and export, or just search for closed batch export, you'll find some information that's a step-by-step for that. And I do not believe yet, we don't have the information there that's specific to importing it into BQool. That's probably going to be information that's going to be updated as soon as everything kind of goes live. But the instructions are going to be the same no matter what. However, I will tell you that if you go over to BQool, to their user guide right now, you can search Inventory Lab, and you'll see that they have step-by-step instructions there for importing. Because it gets a little bit, it's not...
It's like half on your turf, half on their turf, and yeah.
Yeah, and you have to change the format, because when you export from Inventory Lab, it's a .csv format, and BQool wants you to change that over to a different, to a .txt format. So what I will do, and I will write that down as well, because that was a really, really great question, and I'm glad she said that, because I don't know that I would have thought about it in time. I'll make a video and kind of take you that through step by step by step by step. And if you find that video in YouTube, you can also comment on it. And if you say, well, okay, well, you completely lost me here, and please just, I need to know where I need to fill in those gaps better. I welcome your feedback like that. Let me know what's not making sense, so that I can kind of maybe frame that up in a way that would be more helpful. But I'll have that video ready.
And we want to make sure our expectations are tempered. Anytime software is developed and things are first rolled out, there can be bugs, but Inventory Lab is very committed to squashing all those bugs as fast as possible. So somebody asked, if using the average cost feature, will the ROI function in BQool automatically update as the average cost changes? For example, if I send 2 items in at 10 that have a 30% ROI calculated in BQool, and then send those same items at 14, my average cost would now be 12. Will it recalculate the 30% based on the 12, or will we need to manually update each listing as cost change?
As that happens every 12 hours, that synchronization is going to occur. The average cost at that time is what's going to be applied. So, if you have, multiple quantities at $10 and multiple quantities at $14 per unit, it's going to take the average of that. If between that time and the next time that sync occurs, 12 hours later, if new inventory has been added to your active inventory in Seller Central, and it has an $18 cost per unit, that's now going to be used for the calculation for that average cost per unit, average cost per unit.
And so one of the things that I think that this is such a big deal, one of the reasons why, is because, I know a lot of big sellers and small sellers that spend a lot of time putting in their repricing. So what this will allow you to do is to set those rules based off of ROI, based off your cost, and you can have certain sets of rules that come in. Your inventory comes in, you're going to price it, the min and max will be based off of the bottom and floor, based off of your cost of goods, and an ROI that's calculated off of that. And then after 90 days, then you could have a rule where you're going in and basically marking those items that have been there over 90 days with a more aggressive.
Oh, did we lose you? think we lost your sound, Robin. I'm going to guess she's going to come back.
Okay. I was like, where did I go?
Yay.
Okay. Where did I beep out at?
You were talking about the average cost per unit, and trying to think of the last sentence you said.
Okay. So like, a lot of people spend a lot of time, that they're looking at, they're exporting into Be Cool, and then every closed batch, they're updating that. And then they have to go back again for items that have been aged. So this is going to make it so you can set it so, when items first come into Inventory Lab, I want to send that to Be Cool, and it's going to follow these certain rules. And then I can after the fact, with those more generous rules where maybe the floor is a little bit higher, then I can come in and readjust those. But it's going to free up a lot of time where people are spending, 2 to 4 hours a week, sometimes more, repricing things all the time. So would Be Cool from that previous question, Be Cool will update based on the average as it updates. So every 12 hours. So let's say you had 2 items in there at $10, and then you just add 2 more items at $14. Sometime within 12 hours of you entering the 14, then it will change the cost to 12.
Important to remember too that this is going to be based on what is active in your inventory. So when you list an Inventory Lab, you create shipments and then you complete the batch. When those quantities, when those MSKUs are then available in your Seller Central account, that's of course when Be Cool is also going to pick them up. So that's when that information would be you would see it sync at that point. So every couple of hours Be Cool syncs with Seller Central. Until it's live in Seller Central, it's not going to show up in your Be Cool account. So once it's in your Be Cool account, that means everything's where it should be, and that's when you're going to start to see everything accounted for. But every 12 hours, that's going to be updating. And
so, with this, you're going to be able to move items. You're going to be able to make sure that stale items don't go stale because they're not set up. So you want to get practice using this now before you start buying for Q4. This way you have as much capital as possible for Q4, but also that once you hit Q4, that you're not missing out on that money when items maybe jump in price from when you send to when they arrive. It's going to allow you to, capture a lot of money that might have been falling on the table, or sales that you were losing, for that first week or so where an item wasn't there, you hadn't gotten around to exporting and importing everything in there. So that's really where I see the big value from this first integration, where it will save a lot of people time.
Yeah, and exactly what Robin had said. This is literally I kind of look at it like the ribbon cutting for all of this buy cost integration or cost per unit integration that we're going to be seeing coming up in the next couple of days. But this is the first step in what will be a more robust partnership between Be Cool and Inventory Lab. We're going to see that develop and become even more powerful over time. At the same time, we are already planning for those other teams and other companies and software tools to come in partnership as well. We've had a lot of really great ongoing feedback from our customers. We're all of this decision, every part of it is really based on what they need and looking at, okay, we can't give it to them and stay within their financial reach. So what can we do? Let's look at our options. Let's build this stronger framework and bring this all together. So this is the first step with Be Cool. That's going to become an even more powerful, more robust integration. You're going to see additional functionality there down the line over time. But you're also going to see other things happening as well. We're really excited about it.
Yeah, so I think that it's going to be really, really great, and we can expect this in the next couple of days. If you guys have any other additional questions, make sure you let us know. I think that was, I know it was an exciting thing, but we knew we weren't going to have a ton of content because we're basically just announcing it today, and then more documents and videos will be coming out as it launches, and we'll be doing some stuff going forward about how you can kind of use this and integrate this into your business to help you be more profitable. Because one of the things that we want to make sure we're watching is we want to make sure we're watching gross margin. And by having these inventory rules set up, it's going to help you to watch that. And then also it's going to help you with inventory turn, which is some of the two biggest ways where we see people start to lose the cash and the momentum in their business. So they're really important places. So
yeah, this is the time, exactly what Robin said, build that muscle memory before Q4. Become very fluent in setting those prices and understanding kind of how this can really give you that competitive edge. Really, repricing is a really, really great tool if used in the right way. Trial and error is not what you want to do in Q4. Let's do that now. But we're going to take this tedious, redundant part off of your plate so you can focus on that instead.
Awesome. So if people don't have additional questions, we'll go ahead and head out. We just wanted to make sure we were so excited we just had to tell you right away. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the integration is finished, then Inventory Lab, Be Cool, I'm sure your email will just be ding, ding, dinging. So you'll see all of that. But if you see it in Be Cool now, no, it's not going to work yet. We have to wait for everything to be finalized, and you'll be notified by both apps, I'm sure.
Yep. And just take a look, click your name in the top right-hand corner, click settings. If you see integration settings available in the menu on the left-hand side of your Inventory Lab account, you'll know it's live. And you can go on over to Be Cool, turn it on, come back over to Inventory Lab, turn it on there as well, and it will begin.
And there's a whole bunch of people saying, thank you very much. This is going to make my life easier. Thank you. This is a really exciting announcement. So lots of love. And thank you guys at Inventory Lab for doing all this. And then somebody did ask, can Inventory Lab handle more than one U.S. Seller Central account?
You can. However, really it's an Amazon thing. They do not want multiple accounts accessed through they have their own API, which is how we kind of communicate with Amazon. So you would actually have to have two separate Inventory Lab accounts connected to each of your Amazon Seller Central accounts. So you can, but you would have to have two different ones.
And that's universal across every third-party software. I haven't run across any that because it's not an Inventory Lab thing.
No, it's an Amazon Terms of Service kind of, I don't want to say sticking point. They have really good reasons for that. But yeah, it's not something you can kind of skirt around, but I get it though.
And somebody asked when the Unstoppable Amazon Academy is opening up, and I will break it here first since we're talking about news. That should be opening in the next 10 days. We'll be reopening. So I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping it'll be on the shorter end, but I'm traveling this week. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but the Academy will be open again in the next 10 days. All right.
Awesome.
So thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys all soon. I'm so excited about this. I forgot to turn my camera off. I'm like waving goodbye and everything.
I've been looking at your headshot this whole time, which is totally lovely.
It is. I wish I looked that, like all that put together. Usually I have like hot sauce spilled on my shirt, but all right. Thanks guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.